Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Menard from the Thrift Store Reseller blog. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out this video. And today I wanted to share one of my favorite stories as a reseller, and it's how I turned $14 at Goodwill into $225 on eBay. This is one of my favorite stories, and I like to share this one as much as possible because it kind of dispels some of the misconceptions that a lot of people have when it comes to reselling, especially new people. And those two misconceptions are one, you need a lot of time, and two, you need to find a lot of items to be successful, right? Now, if there's a couple of things that I want you to leave after watching this video is that you realize that number one, you don't need a lot of time. Sometimes a quick 15-minute visit is sometimes all you need. And two, you don't need to find a lot of items. So one or two, really simple items can make a huge difference towards your finances, making ends meet at the end of the month. And hopefully after I share this experience of mine, it'll dispel some of this common misconception that's floating around in there, and it'll encourage more people to visit thrift stores as often as possible, even if you only have maybe 10 or 15 minutes per day to do so. All right, now like I said, you don't need to spend a lot of time at the thrift stores to be successful. In fact, nowadays it's very rare that I'm able to reserve a huge block of time just to go and visit a thrift store. Like I don't I'm so busy that I seldom have maybe 1 hour that I can just reserve exclusively for that because I'm running errands. I need to do this, I need to do that. So what I've learned to do is what I call stop by drop bys. So instead of that 1 hour block that you allot just for reselling, I like to incorporate that throughout the day whenever I can. So while I'm running errands, while I'm going to the grocery store, while I'm going to the mall, if there's a Goodwill or a Salvation Army on the way, I definitely make it a point, I make it a habit to stop by maybe 10, 15 minutes just to see what's available out there, right? Or one of my favorite things to do is if I'm stuck in traffic, which Hawaii is notorious for, instead of waiting for 45 minutes, an hour just sitting in your car being unproductive, I love to pull over to a thrift store on the way. Maybe it's a Goodwill or maybe at Savers, and I wait for the traffic to die down, and at the same time I'm trying to make money at the same time, right? So trying to be productive that way. Now in this particular example, I was running my errands. I think I was going to the mall, and I left my house 15 minutes early to give myself time to visit the Goodwill. Now when I'm short on time, there are only two places at the thrift store that I like to visit. One is the jackets and the other is the shoes. And the reason for that is because in this section, you can kind of just eyeball, which items are valuable and which are not. In some other areas like the shirts, the long sleeve shirts, the jeans, you kind of have to go through each item individually to find out which ones are valuable. You can't just walk by and expect the item to just leap out at you like you can at the jackets and suit section. You got to go through each one individually. Now, if you got all the time in the world, then by all means go through those sections. But if you're talking about maybe 10 or 15 minute per visit, really the only place that I like to check out is the jackets and the shoes. And in this example, it paid off because I found two sneakers. All right, the first pair that I found is this pair of Nike Air Max 1s. I bought it for $6.99 and I sold it for $100. The crazy thing about this pair is that one, I sold it the exact same day that I found it for $100. Two, I sold it within minutes of listing it. And three, even though I sold it for $100 buy it now, I didn't technically even have a buy it now price for it. I actually started this auction at $24.99 and I had the auction run for 7 days. Now immediately once I listed the item, a buyer contacted me asking me if I was willing to end it early if he gave me $100 ship for it. Now, anytime I can get $100 for an item that I found at a thrift store, it's an automatic yes for me. But I actually thought I could have ended up selling it for more, but at the end of the day, $100 for a pair of shoes that I bought for $6.99, I'm pretty much gonna say yes 99% of the time, which is exactly what I did. All right, the second pair of sneakers I found on that visit was this pair of Nike Air Jordan 11 Columbias. As you can see, it's not in the best of conditions. You can see this part is starting to yellow a little bit. There's a lot of creases here in the toe box. The bottom is yellowing as well. There's a lot of scuffs and creases, and still I was able to sell it for $124.99. Now this particular item, I didn't end up selling it right away, but I did get a lot of requests from buyers asking me if I was willing to drop the price. I got a couple of $60 offers, $70. I think the highest unsolicited offer I received was $85. And as tempting as it was to end the auction early, I know the value of this pair of Jordans, especially the 11s. If you can find this pair of Jordans, it's one of the most popular pairs. And I resisted the temptation to end it at $85, and I ended up selling a few days later for $124.99. And I'm glad that I waited, because seriously, it was very hard for me not to just end the auction early and get that $85 in my PayPal account. But I'm glad I did, because I was rewarded in the end. $125 for a $7 pair of shoes. Um, you don't find those every day, so I was very happy that I waited. This is one of my favorite stories to share, because I think it does a great job of dispelling those two misconceptions that we spoke about earlier. One, that you need a lot of time, and two, that you need to find a lot of items to be successful. And honestly, that's just not the case. Ever since I started my blog, I've always had a lot of resellers come up to me and ask me, how do you get so lucky by finding all of these items? And my response is always the same. It's because I put myself in position to be lucky that I'm able to find all these items. And it doesn't take a lot of time. And I encourage you guys, even if it's just for a quick 10-15 minute visit, just to visit the thrift store as often as possible. Whether that's once or twice a week, if that's all you got time for, by all means, use it wisely and get in there. Or if you can, sneak in a visit, maybe on your way home from work, or if you find yourself stuck in traffic unexpectedly, stop by for a quick, 15-20 minute visits. If there's anything that this story illustrates, is that you don't need a lot of time. And who wouldn't want to make an extra $200 just from a quick 15-minute visit? I don't know too many people that wouldn't be happy with those results. So, visit as much as possible. Never stop learning. There's always new brands that you can discover. There's always new sections at the thrift store that you can check out. And I'm telling you, there's always something valuable in every aisle. And there's always some new eBay strategy that you can learn. The marketplace is changing. What worked maybe a year ago isn't going to be working today. So you always got to be learning. You got to always be adapting. And never forget that just a quick 15-minute visit can give you tremendous results. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. If you want to learn more about reselling, definitely check out my blog at thriftstorereseller.com. Or if you want to check out the new community of resellers that I created, definitely go out to www.thriftresellinguniversity.com. I haven't spoke about this yet. I just started it a month ago, but I'll be making more videos in the future explaining the benefit to joining that community. So have a great day, everyone. Talk to you soon.